Every lasting change begins not with willpower alone, but with the right systems. Too often we rely on motivation that fades instead of building structures that carry us forward when emotions fail. If you want to change your life, you must create a framework that keeps you moving toward your vision day after day, whether you feel inspired or not. The first step is clarity, knowing exactly what you want and why you want it. A system cannot run without a clear purpose. When your vision is precise, your systems become the daily machinery that brings that vision into reality. You are no longer chasing change randomly. You are directing it intentionally. Next, break your goal into specific, repeatable actions. Systems thrive on predictability. And systems thrive on. If your aim is to improve your finances, your system might include setting aside a fixed percentage of your income before spending a single rupee. If you want better health, your system could be a non-negotiable daily routine of exercise and planned meals. The key is consistency, small, repeatable steps that compound over time. Another vital part of your system is accountability. Successful people understand that when someone or something holds them responsible, they perform better. This could mean tracking your progress daily, reviewing your habits weekly, or sharing your goals with a trusted partner. Accountability transforms intentions into commitments. Your system should also include triggers, cues that remind you to act. If your goal is to read daily, place the book where you see it every morning. If you want to write, schedule it in your calendar as firmly as a business meeting. You remove the decision making and let the system guide you. Importantly, a good system is adaptable. Life changes, circumstances shift, and challenges arise. Systems that are too rigid will break. Systems that can be adjusted will last. When you hit an obstacle, don't throw away the goal. Modify the process and keep going. Finally, feed your mind with positive reinforcement. Every time you follow your system, acknowledge your progress. Celebrate small victories. This builds momentum and strengthens the belief that you are in control of your life. Remember, transformation is not about one giant leap. It's about disciplined steps repeated until success becomes inevitable. That success is never accidental. It is the product of deliberate thought, definite plans, and persistent action. Systems are the bridge between your dreams and your daily behavior. If you want lasting change, stop relying solely on willpower. Build systems that carry you forward. Make your habits serve your vision, and soon your life will begin to transform steadily, surely, and permanently. Clarity is the starting point of all personal transformation. Without it, even the most determined person will waste time and energy moving in circles. Imagine setting sail without knowing your destination. You could have the fastest ship, the strongest crew, and the most favorable winds, yet still end up nowhere meaningful. Clarity acts as your compass. It tells you exactly where you're going and why it matters. Without it, systems and habits are nothing more than random actions. With it, every step becomes deliberate. When you are clear about what you want, you filter out distractions effortlessly. The world is full of opportunities, but not every opportunity is meant for you. Clarity allows you to identify the ones that align with your vision and politely decline the rest. This saves you from scattering your focus across too many projects or chasing goals that aren't truly yours. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. Clarity also sharpens your motivation. Vague goals like I want to be successful or I want to be healthier lack emotional power because they're undefined. Success in what? Health in what way? In what way? When you turn these into specific statements, I want to build a business that earns $100,000 a year, or I want to run a 5K without stopping by December, you give your mind a target to lock onto. Specificity turns dreams into objectives, and objectives can be planned, measured, and achieved. Moreover, clarity transforms the way you make decisions. Without it, every choice feels overwhelming because you have no standard to measure it against. But when your goal is clear, decision-making becomes easier. You can simply ask, does this action move me closer to my goal? Right up. If the answer is yes, you proceed. If not, you walk away. This eliminates hesitation and indecision, both of which can steal years of your life. Clarity doesn't just happen, it's created. You must take time to think deeply about your desires, values, and priorities. This might mean journaling about what truly excites you, reflecting on what you want your life to look like in 5 or 10 years, or identifying which achievements would make you feel proud at the end of your life. Sometimes gaining clarity requires stripping away the noise of the world, stepping back from constant busyness, and reconnecting with your inner voice. Once you have clarity, you can design systems that align perfectly with your vision. If you want financial freedom, your system might include budgeting, investing, and continuous learning about money management. If your goal is vibrant health, your system could involve meal planning, exercise routines, and scheduled rest. The point is, clarity ensures your systems are built to serve a specific purpose, not just to keep you busy. In the end, clarity is power. It eliminates confusion, fuels motivation, and directs your energy toward the actions that matter most. When clarity comes first, everything else, your habits, your discipline, your progress, falls into place. Without it, you'll drift. With it, you'll move forward with purpose, certainty, and unstoppable momentum. Big dreams often intimidate people because they seem so far away from where they are right now. The truth is, every major transformation is built on small, consistent actions. Mountains are climbed one step at a time, and success works the same way. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You need to start with small, manageable steps that you can repeat until they become second nature. Over time, these actions compound, creating results far greater than you ever imagined. One of the greatest mistakes people make is underestimating the power of small daily habits. They believe that unless they make massive changes, nothing will improve. But in reality, even a 1% improvement every day creates extraordinary results over the course of a year. Just like compound interest grows money exponentially, repeated actions, no matter how small, multiply their impact over time. Small actions are powerful because they're achievable. Starting small removes the mental barrier of fear or procrastination. It's easier to commit to a 5-minute workout than an hour-long gym session if you're just beginning. It's less intimidating to save $5 a day than to immediately commit to saving hundreds. These small wins build momentum, and momentum is what keeps you moving forward. When motivation fades, consistency is what turns small actions into big change. Doing something once won't create transformation, but doing it every day, every week, or every month turns it into a habit. Once it's a habit, it becomes automatic. You no longer need to force yourself to do it. This is where the magic happens because you're no longer relying on bursts of motivation. You're relying on systems and ingrained behavior. Another benefit of starting small is that it teaches patience and discipline. Most people quit too early because they don't see instant results. But when you focus on small actions, you train yourself to value progress over perfection. You begin to understand that true success is not about sudden leaps, say. It's about steady, continuous movement in the right direction. Small actions also allow you to adapt and improve along the way. When your steps are manageable, you can evaluate what's working and what's not, making adjustments without feeling overwhelmed. This prevents burnout and ensures that your growth is sustainable. History is filled with examples of small beginnings leading to monumental success. Every best-selling author started with a single page. Every thriving business started with a single idea. Every athlete began with simple practice sessions. What set them apart was not grand gestures, but the relentless repetition of small steps that moved them forward. When you understand that small actions build big change, you stop waiting for the perfect moment or the grand opportunity. You realize that the future you dream about is being shaped right now by the little things you choose to do or not do today. The sooner you embrace this truth, the sooner you'll see that greatness is simply the result of consistent, intentional, and often very small actions taken over time. Accountability is the force that transforms good intentions into consistent action. Many people start with enthusiasm, but without accountability, that enthusiasm fades. and they slip back into old habits. Accountability creates an environment where quitting is harder than continuing, where you are compelled to follow through because someone or something is holding you responsible. It is not about pressure for the sake of pressure. It is about creating the right kind of structure to keep you aligned with your goals. When you are accountable, your promises are no longer private wishes. They become public commitments. This shift is powerful. If you tell yourself you will wake up early to exercise, you can easily justify sleeping in. But if you tell a friend, a coach, or a group that you will be there at 6 a.m., you are far more likely to keep that promise. Why? Because human beings are wired to maintain integrity in front of others. So, we don't like to appear unreliable, and this natural desire pushes us to act even when motivation is low. Accountability doesn't have to come from another person. It can also come from systems and tools. Tracking your progress on paper, using a calendar, setting reminders, or using habit tracking apps creates a visual record of your commitment. Record becomes a mirror. You see the truth of your efforts, and it becomes harder to lie to yourself about your consistency. One of the key benefits of accountability is that it builds momentum. Every time you check in, report your progress, or share your results, you reinforce your identity as someone who follows through. Over time, this sense of identity becomes stronger than your temporary feelings of resistance. You begin to see yourself as disciplined and committed, which makes it easier to keep going. Accountability also offers something most people underestimate: support and feedback. When you have someone to report to, they can help you identify what's working and what's holding you back. They can celebrate your wins, no matter how small, and remind you of your why when you feel like giving up. This support system makes the journey less lonely and more sustainable. For accountability to be effective, it must be consistent. Checking in once in a while will not create the pressure or the rhythm needed to keep you on track. The most successful people schedule regular reviews, daily, weekly, or monthly, to evaluate their progress and make necessary adjustments. This turns accountability into a habit itself, and once it's a habit, it becomes part of your success system. Ultimately, accountability is about building trust with others and with yourself. When you repeatedly follow through on what you said you would do, you begin to believe in your own word. That belief fuels confidence, and confidence fuels action. The cycle strengthens over time, and soon consistency is no longer a struggle, it's simply who you are. When you embrace accountability, you remove the option of giving up and replace it with the habit of showing up day after day until your goal is achieved. Excuses thrive in the space between intention and action. You might have the best plans and the strongest motivation, but if taking the first step requires too much thinking or decision making, you leave room for hesitation. Hesitation invites excuses. This is where triggers come in. Triggers are cues in your environment or routine that prompt you to act automatically. They remove the need to decide in the moment, making it far easier to follow through on your goals. A trigger can be anything that signals your brain it's time to do this. It might be a specific time on the clock, a physical object, a place, or even another action you've just completed. For example, if you want to build the habit of reading every morning, you might place your book on your pillow the night before. So it's the first thing you see when you wake up. If you want to exercise after work, you could put your workout clothes in your car so you drive straight to the gym without going home. By arranging your environment this way, you eliminate the mental gap where excuses can sneak in. The power of triggers lies in automation. When the trigger happens, the action follows, no negotiation, no inner debate. This is why people who tie their habits to specific cues often have much higher success rates. Think of brushing your teeth. You don't debate whether you'll do it each morning. It's simply triggered by waking up or preparing for bed. The same principle applies to any new habit you want to build. Triggers are especially effective because they reduce decision fatigue. Every day, we make countless small decisions, and the more decisions we have to make, the more likely we are to default to what's easy instead of what's right. By creating triggers, you take the decision-making out of the equation. The moment the cue appears, you act without asking yourself if you feel like it. Another important aspect of triggers is that they can stack onto habits you already have. This is called habit stacking, where you attach a new habit to an existing one so it becomes part of your established routine. For example, after pouring your morning coffee, you might immediately write down your top 3 priorities for the day. After brushing your teeth at night, you might spend 5 minutes stretching. The existing habit becomes the trigger for the new one, making it easier to remember and harder to skip. Triggers also work best when they are visible and unavoidable. If your trigger is hidden, it loses power. If your goal is to drink more water, keeping a bottle within arm's reach is far more effective than leaving it in another room. If you want to meditate, setting up a dedicated corner with your mat and timer ready will nudge you to start. When you set up strong triggers, you remove the wiggle room that excuses love to occupy. You stop relying on fleeting motivation and start relying on an environment and routine that makes success your default choice. Over time, these triggers become so ingrained that action happens automatically, and the battle with excuses simply disappears. That's when consistency becomes effortless and progress becomes inevitable.